Hi, my name is Alari Anawa. I've been a life on purpose coach since 2003, and I'm also the author of Just Believe How Faith in Yourself Shifts Everything. So, 2020 is a pivotal year for a lot of reasons, and it's also, we've got Chinese New Year coming up on the 25th of January. For about 2 billion people on this planet will be celebrating that auspicious time of year, also known as the Spring Festival. And there's a lot going on in 2020. So let's explore the energy and the influences of this important year so you can understand its purpose and how to harmonize with it so you can sail with it rather than trying to row against the current. Because when we try to row against the current, we suffer and life feels hard. But when we sail instead of rowing, we can go a lot further and it's effortless. We have a lot more fun by letting the wind carry us. So, before we jump into details, let's take a quick look at how we get insights and support to help us navigate life. We are always supported, even when we are not aware of it. We are literally surrounded by infinite resources, unconditional love, and helpful guidance to support us on our individual and our collective paths. The soul aspect of you or higher self, your broader and wiser non physical perspective, is always communicating with you and guiding you in some way. This guidance will naturally come in a way that you'll easily resonate with or you'll relate to because the soul aspect of you knows where you are relative to different subjects and life events. This means that if you're someone who likes facts, figures, science, politics, or news, you'll get guidance and messages in that way. There will be lessons there somewhere. If instead you resonate more with the spiritual meaning of numbers, as an example, you'll get guidance through numbers or recurring numeric patterns, like seeing 444 or 232 in multiple places. And this also means that if you're open to forms of wisdom such as tarot or angel cards, astrology, prayer, or the Chinese zodiac, it's all good. Powerful support comes in all shapes and sizes. It all has value in some way to someone. The important thing to remember is this: if you want to benefit from this powerful soul support, you'll want to slow down and be present and attentive to it. If there's something important for you to see, you'll be drawn to it in some way. It'll feel right or interesting to you. By slowing down and noticing what is there for you, you'll better understand and connect with the support you're being called to receive. Slow down to speed up. So, with that being said, let's jump into the year of 2020 so you can understand it, sail with it, and have an amazing year. So, first, let's look at 2020 from the perspective of the Chinese zodiac. So, the new year begins on Saturday, January 25th, and this is the lunar year of the metal rat. There are 12 animals in the Chinese zodiac that cycle through 5 different elements, and those elements are metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. So the last time we had a metal rat year was 60 years ago in 1960, which also happens to be the year I was born. Yay. The element of metal represents support, strong presence, and self determination. That's self with a capital S. 2 of the better feeling emotions associated with the energy of metal are on the positive side or the good feeling side are courage and confidence, and on the unpleasant, not so good feeling side, the emotion that's also associated with metal is the energy of grief. So we'll come back to these aspects in a moment when we bring all of this together. So this is a metal rat year. Rat leads off the lunar calendar. So unlike our Western interpretation of a rat, the Eastern view of the rat is one of an honest leader. Rat characteristics include intelligence, innovation, being sociable, having charm, and strong powers of observation. So, rat personalities are good advisors, they're practical, and can be disarmingly honest. This means being so honest and open that it removes the need for hostility. Rat energy supports and cultivates higher trust, which is desperately needed at this point in time in our evolution. When you pair the energy of the rat with the energy of metal, you get the added dimensions of idealism, self-knowledge, and realized potential. Looking pretty good for 2020, right? Of all the elements, the energy of the metal rat is also the strongest and the most purposeful. So now 2020 is also a 4-year in numerology, which is determined by reducing the number 2020. So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 equals 4. The number 4 represents stability and the capacity to stay centered in oneself while seeing multiple perspectives for yourself and others. Some people call this Christ consciousness or being in the world, but not of it. When you're doing this for yourself, think of standing in the middle of a 4-way intersection and being able to look forward to see where you're clearly heading so you have a clear purpose or direction forward. As you turn to the right, you see all the awesome tools and resources to help you get there. Turning to the south, you can see the ways of being that will support you on your journey. And then as you turn again, you see what you want to bring forward from your past and what you want to release. From this centered and higher vantage point, you'd have a very well-rounded view of your life, wouldn't you? Now, when we do this as we interact with others inside the energy of the number 4, we are able to see multiple perspectives and opinions while maintaining a sense of peace and being centered, because we know who we are and we also honor other people's right to choose and to be who they are. So when we have embodied 4 energy, we are stable and steady, and we're not thrown off or negatively impacted by the opinions or actions of other people. Now, I get that this might seem like a tall order, especially in an age which is where there's so many opinions that are so publicly available, but this is what we are being called to do in the year 2020. So let's bring this all together in a bigger way. This is a year that holds the possibility of immense potential, idealism, and success. It's also a year in which self-determination, setting your own vision, and being on purpose will be very important if you want to maintain that steadiness that we talked about. The truth is, we need to know who we are and what we believe in if we're going to stay centered and at peace with varying opinions. We're only thrown off center when we don't have a strong sense of self. That's self with a capital S. In other words, a strong sense of coming from who we truly are, our highest selves. And that is who we are, our higher selves. We are seeing honesty and truth, especially inside politics, being called into question a lot more frequently now, and that's going to continue to escalate. Remember, I mentioned earlier that this is a year of idealism. This means that in order to navigate well and create what you really want, you'll want to have a strong sense of self, with a capital S again, and you'll also want to have a clear idea about what you personally stand for and cherish. Not because you were born into a particular group, be it political, social, ethnic, or religious, but because something has personal meaning to you as an individual. So when you see political turmoil about who's telling the truth And people taking sides according to which political tribe they belong to, well, that's a representation of tribal consciousness, which is always divisive because it's based on a premise, a faulty premise, that one group is always right and the other group is always wrong. Now, this is not a solid or stable foundation on which to build a house, a family, a life, a company, or a nation. We cannot make half a population wrong and expect to have peace. This is true if we're making ourselves wrong, a spouse or family member wrong, or an entire group wrong. This is also where the strength and courage from the metal element is needed. We are being called to stand up for what we truly believe while allowing others to do the same. This is how stability and self-realization is created in a peaceful and steady way. If we collapse ourselves into tribal or victim consciousness and don't commit to standing as a powerful self, we'll feel grief in a deeper way this year. Why? Because it's a wake-up call to be the grandest version of yourself, to be self-realized. This means that when we're self-realized, we don't blame other people for how we feel or for our lot in life. We know that we create that ourselves. So 2020 is a year of powerful potential, and you're going to get a lot of support to be your best self in a centered, stable way. Your mission then, should you choose to accept it, is to anchor a clear, self-determined vision and the courage to be your awesome self, even if that might not be in agreement with your current tribe, if you have one that you identify with. If we push against another group this year because their opinion is different than our own, our grief will be amplified because we are operating inside a year that is supporting stability, being centered, being honest with ourselves, and standing for a vision rather than pushing against another or pushing against something. So if we stand for our individual ideals while allowing others to do the same, we will thrive, and we will do so peacefully. Sounds good, doesn't it? Yes, we will continue to see a lot of turmoil this year, especially inside politics, as this is a presidential election year in the US, and more importantly, it's being amplified to illustrate the places where we may have previously given our power away by letting a system or tribe choose for us. Those tribes, as I mentioned earlier, can be political, social, ethnic, religious, and they can also be gender-based. So remember this, we do not have to take anything on as true or limit ourselves because of our gender or because we predominantly identify with a specific group. We are being called to think for ourselves, as this is a natural component of our evolution, and we can't really be self-realized if we're depending on another group to make the choices for us. So this is a year that highly supports taking action from higher self, from being the best version of you. I'll talk more about resilience and dealing powerfully with grief and unwanted life events in next week's video, so stay tuned for that. And if you're being called to go deeper, I am here to help. You can find out more and schedule a coaching session here at this link. Have a great week. Welcome to 2020. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Year of the Metal Rat. Bye for now.